In this episode of Ricky Remembers, we have a special episode for sneakerheads, especially the OG or old school sneakerheads out there. If 2 episodes ago we did an episode on car enthusiasts or car aficionados, sneakerheads or shoe aficionados are gonna get a kick of today's episode. In today's episode, Ricky remembers shoe stores and the shoes that we bought in these shoe stores that were popular in Manila in the 80s and the 90s, the 1980s and the 1990s. Now, before I get to the episode, I want to thank everyone who viewed yesterday's episode about bars or popular bars in Manila in the 90s. You know, sometimes when I do these videos, I feel like nobody's watching. So I get discouraged and I feel like just giving up and throwing the towel because no one's watching naman or no one's paying any attention. No one's liking or sharing or commenting or no one's subscribing. But yesterday's episode was very encouraging and very inspiring. I got close to 200 views while as I'm recording this. We're close to 200 views on that video, which is probably in my top 5 videos now. So please, guys, continue watching Ricky Remembers, continue liking the videos, continue commenting, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. I need so many more subscribers so that I can start monetizing my YouTube channel. Once I become a YouTube star, or even if once I start monetizing the channel, I promise you I'm gonna give everything back to all my viewers. So, thanks again for watching and thanks again for tuning in. In today's episode of Ricky Remembers shoe stores and the shoes that we bought in these shoe stores that were popular in Manila in the 1980s and the 1990s. Now, an episode about shoes and shoe stores will not be complete without mentioning, of course, our favorite place, Green Hills. So when we were younger, or when I was younger, I think when I was a teenager, Green Hills was one of the go-to places to buy shoes. And I remember in Vera Mall, there were a few shoe stores that we would frequent back then. In Vera Mall alone, we went to Christian Joel. We also checked out Moda Pronto. Ino, you guys remember Ino? And then on the second floor, I think there was also another Moda Pronto. You know, when you go up the stairs in Vera Mall, right there in front of the stairs or beside or next to the stairs, you know, the stairs at the end of Vera Mall, the two ends. When you go up the first stairs to the second floor, there's already a shoe store there. Depending on where you go up, it's on your left or it's on your right. But there's a popular shoe store there as well. Please remind me on what the name of that shoe store is. But I think it was a second branch of Moda Pronto also. And then I don't know if it's the second or the third floor, but I remember it was next to the cinema entrance was Ino. You guys remember Ino in the third floor of Vera Mall? I remember that Ino shoe store was right beside the cinema entrance or on the other side, but it's on the side of Vera Mall. I remember Ino because that's where I first bought that's where I bought my first pair of Reeboks in Ino. I remember the Reeboks that my mom bought for me there were those black high top Reeboks, which were really for aerobics. I don't know how they became popular in Manila because, you know, and especially for guys because we don't naman engage in aerobics. But it was huge in the States, so, you know, back then, kung ano yung uso sa States, uso rin sa Manila. So we lapped up those Reebok aerobic shoes. So those were my first pair of Reeboks, the black aerobic shoes from Reebok. And I remember during that time, it cost around, and this was the late 80s, 1987 to 1988. I think my mom bought them for around 600 pesos, which was a small fortune. back then. And my mom only bought those shoes when it was a special occasion. Either it was my birthday, or it was Christmas, or I got really good grades or honors in school. So I remember Ino, that's where I bought my first pair of Reeboks. So in Vera Mall, there's Christian Joel, Moda Pronto, Ino, and then I remember also Tokyo Hana. I don't know if you guys remember Tokyo Hana. I remember Tokyo Hana had this orange and green plastic bag. The shopping bag that they put the shoes in after when you bought them was this orange and green shopping bag. And I remember in Tokyo Hana is where I bought my Harutas. You know Haruta, when they were popular in the 80s, Harutas were like a version of penny loafers. Of course, penny loafers, you can put a penny there in the front, right? So Haruta came out with their version of penny loafers. Of course, penny loafers were popularized by Bass. But yeah, in Tokyo Hana was where I bought my first pair of Harutas. And I remember Christian Joel also in the ground floor of Vera Mall, because when I was in college already and I went to Christian Joel to shop for some Nikes, ang may-ari pala was a classmate of mine or a schoolmate of mine in UP, and her name was Abigail Ting, or Biga Ting. Now she's called Biggs. Si Biggs. Biggs Ting. I was surprised one time. I went into Christian Joel shopping for Nikes, and she was there sitting there manning the store. Yun pala, sila yung may-ari, yung family niya yung may-ari nung Christian Joel. So Biggs, if you're watching this, I remember that one time when I wandered into Christian Joel when we were in college in UP and you were there manning your store. And nagulat ako, kayo pala yung may-ari. So that's Vera Mall. Let's move to Shopsville. Because Shopsville also had its share of shoe stores. And the one store I remember there was Ding Dong's. You guys remember Ding Dong's? Ding Dong's ba or Ding Dong lang? But Ding Dong or Ding Dong's had a couple of stores in Shopsville. And that's where you would go to buy Nikes. I remember they'd be wrapped in plastic, parang saran wrap na shoes. This was the time when Nike didn't have its own store yet, so you could only buy them in stores, no? I remember the original distributor of Nike in the Philippines was Mondragon. You guys remember Mondragon? So Nike then didn't have its own retail stores yet. So we would go to Ding Dong or Ding Dongs to buy these imported sneakers or imported rubber shoes. Of course, they sold other shoes as well, like Timberland and other rubber shoes also, but they were really popular for the Nikes. I forgot to mention pala, in Moda Pronto, they were famous for having the coal hands. You know, when nauso yung driving shoes, Cedar Crest, tsaka coal hand, you could buy them in Moda Pronto. And I remember those coal hands were really expensive. It was so expensive that we couldn't afford them. So remember when I was saying Reeboks were 600, I think coal hands were like 3,000 or something like that. But they were really expensive. But they were really nice too. When I got older, when I was an adult and I was working, I could afford coal hands already. But it took a while. So, so balik tayo sa Shopsville, sorry. Iba yung Shoppersville, yun yung grocery sa Katipunan. So Shopsville, where you had Ding Dongs, where you could buy the Nikes. And then, in Shopsville also, I don't know why I keep saying Shoppersville. In Shopsville also was Regina's. Remember that specialty store, Regina's, in Shopsville? That's where I would go to buy Dragonfly shoes. Remember Dragonfly when they got really popular, and they were available in Regina's for around 200 to 250 pesos. So that was really cheap compared to a $600 peso pair of Reeboks. And Dragonflies were really popular because if you couldn't afford Tretorns, which I couldn't afford Tretorns, or K-Swiss, although I was able to buy K-Swiss when I was older, dragonflies would suffice. They were cool, but they were very affordable. So I remember you'd wear a Puritan white t-shirt, some faded blue jeans, and some dragonfly shoes. Maporma ka na nun. Pwede ka nang gumimik. Pwede ka nang pumunta sa Pwede ka nang pumunta sa Fridays. Nung time na yon. So, dragonflies in Regina's. And then also, in the corner in Shopsville was Jonel's. You guys remember Jonel's? Well, right now it's just a store for Converse. It became a specialty or a dedicated store for Converse. But there was a time when Jonel's sold all these other shoes. So that was a stopover also when you're shopping for shoes in Shopsville or in Green Hills. You'd go to Jonel's and check out the Tretorns, the K-Swiss, the Reeboks, and what have you in that store. So that's Green Hills for you. So Vera Mall in Shopsville, Christian Joel, Moda Pronto, Ino, Tokyo Hana, Ding Dongs, Regina's, and Jonel's. Now let's go to Quezon City, and my go-to place in Quezon City was SM North EDSA. And I remember in the ground floor of SM North EDSA, I would go to Mendrez. You guys remember Mendrez? I would go to Mendrez for leather shoes, usually for school, or other dress shoes, for parties and for special occasions. I would go to Mendrez. It was a local store, but they had really good leather shoes. And of course, beside Mendrez was Cardam's. Cardam's also had some good driving shoes. Remember, nauso yung time na you would wear leather shoes without socks. We would go to Cardam's or Mendrez to buy those leather shoes. And right beside Cardam's and Mendrez, in the corner, was this store called Fabric Warehouse. Nagbebenta ng tela. Of course, it's not shoes, but I remember that was the landmark. The corner in SM was Fabric Warehouse. Now, right beside Fabric Warehouse was another shoe store. This one you have to help me remember, guys, because I really don't remember the name. But there was a sneaker store or a rubber shoe store there beside Fabric Warehouse. I remember that store because that's where I bought my LA Gear rubber shoes. Nauso rin yung LA Gear sa Philippines. Again, another line of aerobic shoes na nauso sa Manila because nauso sa States. So I went to that store to buy my first pair of LA Gears. It was right beside Papemelroti or Papemelroti or Papemelroti. I don't know how you pronounce it. Papemelroti. Right beside that was that shoe store with the LA Gears, or where I bought my first pair of LA Gear. Now, oh, by the way, we're here at the outlets at Orange. This is a outlet mall in Anaheim, and the reason why I remembered the topic of shoes and shoe stores was I was walking around here and I saw right behind me, as you can see, is Shoe Palace, and here you can see also they're a popular shoe store here in California or in Orange County. So behind me is Shoe Palace, right in front of me is Finish Line, and then on the left of me is a Nike outlet store. I'll feature these stores in a different episode where I'll feature or I'll review the shoe stores. I know it's popular in the Philippines to review outlet stores, so I'll do that in the next episode. So there's Shoe Palace, Finish Line, and then Nike. So no episode about shoes and shoe stores will be complete also without mentioning Cash and Carry, mali pa. Cash and Carry, Ricky remembers Cash and Carry, and of course Cartimar. So Cash and Carry and Cartimar were the places that we would go to if it was Christmas time, During Christmas time, we would get our aguinaldo from our ninongs and our ninangs, so we would have money. Right after Christmas, we would go to Cash and Carry and Cartimar to shop for the newest shoes or sneakers for the new year. So I remember, before Cartimar became famous for selling pets and exotic pets, and before that they became famous for selling bicycles. Before all of that, they were popular for selling imported rubber shoes or shoes from the States. And I remember Cartimar because that's where I bought my first pair of British Knights. Kahit British Knights, pinatulan ko. Oh my God. So yeah, I went to Cartimar to shop for shoes and I ended up buying British Knights. So sumabay talaga ako sa uso sa lahat ng, ng shoes back then. And I thank my parents, especially my mom, for allowing me to purchase these very expensive shoes. So thanks, Ma, for buying me those shoes when I was younger. You never said no to me. So thank you very much. And I remember them fondly that you would buy me all these nice new shoes when I was a good boy. Whether I had good grades or whether it was my birthday or it was Christmas, you would buy me these very expensive shoes. So thank you. I have very fond memories of owning these shoes because of you. Thanks, Ma. I love you. So there you go. Cash and Carry and Cartimar. So to sum it up, there was Ricky Remembers Vera Mall with Christian Joel, Moda Pronto, Ino, Tokyo Hana, and then in Shopsville was Ding Dongs, Regina's, and Jonel's. In SM North EDSA, Ricky Remembers Mendres, Cardams, and that store where I bought my LA gear, which I can't remember. And then, of course, Ricky Remembers Cash and Carry and Cartimar. So there you have it. That's today's episode of Ricky Remembers. Ricky Remembers shoe stores and the shoes that you bought from these shoe stores that were popular in Manila in the 1980s and in the 1990s. Again, don't forget to like the video. If you have any suggestions on what I should feature next, or if you have your own memories that you want me to feature, please drop a comment in the comment section below. And most importantly, don't forget to click the subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified of future episodes of Ricky Remembers. Again, thank you for supporting my channel and for always viewing and for always encouraging me and inspiring me with your views. Thank you so much. This has been Ricky Baizas for Ricky Remembers. Tune in again tomorrow for tomorrow's episode of Ricky Remembers. Peace, love, courage. Thanks. Bye-bye.